Welcome back to Peak Health Revolution. My name is Logan Grundy, and today what we're going to go over is what to do about your knees caving in when you squat. This is super important, and we see a lot of people getting knee pain as a result. So if you notice that as you squat, your knees are coming in, then this video is going to take you through exactly how to fix that. We're going to go over a couple different things. What we're going to need for this is one or maybe two small little glute bands, depending on how strong you are and how strong your bands are. And then also a very light resistance band. That's all we're gonna need to fix this problem of your knees caving in and help strengthen your glutes that are gonna help push that back out. Why it's so important though is that what we need is from our hip down to our ankle to track in a nice straight line so that the force going through the knee is even. When we get into this situation where it's bowing in like this, it's curving and coming back out, and that's putting a lot of tension on that knee. So I'll give you guys a quick example here of what that looks like good versus bad. Example of a good squat here is gonna look like this. Knees are tracking over the feet, and when it caves in, it's gonna look more like this. Or you might see someone that goes down, good, and then they do this coming back up and they get that dip on their way up. So now the first thing that we're gonna go over to prevent that is just using your glute band when we squat, and I'll explain why that's beneficial. So normally those knees are caving in. When we add that glute band onto the hips, what it's doing is actually pulling in and feeding into our problem, which sounds like it would just make things worse, except that it's giving feedback to our brain. So that when we squat now, it's trying to pull in and it overemphasizes it to our brain and reminds it that, hey, you're caving your knees in, and it gives you something to push back out against, so that when you squat, instead of squatting like that, now you have this pulling in and it says, hey brain, push out, and you get a nice good squat. So you can do that still on the barbell, or if you're just doing bodyweight squats, and think about having those track nice and evenly over the feet instead of getting that cave in. Just by having this band pushing in, it's going to remind you to push out and get a nice even squat with that. The next one we're going to go over is using a light resistance band to do a similar idea where it's going to pull that knee in. So what you want to do is just anchor it at about knee height, give or take. And then we want to do it on the knee that's furthest from that post, so that again, we're pulling that knee in and feeding into our problem. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to put this far leg through. I'm going to put a bit of tension on it so that it's pulling that knee in. We're going to go to a lunge position here. And then I'm going to just do lunges, nice, light, easy ones, really focused and concentrated on having that knee not dip in, even though the band's pulling it in, and tracking nice and straight over it. So this is going to challenge your ankle, your hip, everything on this side a little bit to stabilize, keep balanced, and keep that foot tracking directly over the foot, or keep that knee, tracking directly over the foot. And that's the second way that we can use to correct this. So my suggestion would be kind of warming up with something like this. That's a reminder, nice light weight. Then when you get into your actual squats, throw that band around your knees as the reminder to push out and get that extra glute activation. And then what I like to do is finish off with some extra glute work, because what's happening is that a lot of the times that caving in, one, it can be a pattern that has just gotten ingrained over time, but two, more likely than not, it's because you have weak glutes that aren't helping you keep that out. The glutes are going to help rotate the feet out and also keep them from caving in as much. So what I like to do is a couple different exercises that just we can finish off with. You can take all of these or a selection of them, whichever ones your favorites are. We're going to put it around our feet, and we have a couple options here. First one, get into just a little bit of a bent leg stance, a little more athletic stance. And then what we're going to do is just walk forward and back and really concentrate on that we're not coming in and caving in with each step like that, that we're staying out nice and strong and straightforward. So we're just walking forwards and back. You're probably going to be somewhere in that 8 to 12 rep range with this. Also, what we can do, same idea, around our feet with the band, but we're just going to move laterally side to side here instead. Same stance here, a little more athletic, and just trying to move little shuffle steps each direction. And again, big emphasis is on not picking too heavy of a band so that you can actually move well with this. What we don't want to see is that when you go out, that we're seeing the knee cave in and you kind of just slide that foot out, then transfer your weight over and go like that. Like we want nice strong step out, knee staying good, bring that next one in. We're not getting this caved in, pushed out type thing going on. So those are the first two that we're gonna use. Then we're gonna follow it up with a couple where we're actually just gonna sit on the bench itself. So what you wanna do here is get 1 or 2 bands set up, depending on how strong your bands are and how strong you are. You can just use 1 or go to a double band setup. What we wanna do is sit up nice and tall, almost back a little bit. Spread our feet just a little bit so that we are tipping our feet like up, and then we're gonna let them come down and come up. So we're gonna start kind of back here, and what we're gonna do is about 30 of these. And what you're doing is letting those feet tip, and you're gonna start to really feel that in your glutes. Once you've done 30 of those, then go to slightly, just a little lean forward, same idea. Pump out another 30 of these. You're gonna start to feel this in your glutes. They're gonna get sore. So we're gonna do 30 of those. Then finally, what you're gonna do, lean forward most of the way here, and we'll set up for one final set here. What you can do also is a standing variation of this if you want, where you're basically standing, letting them cave in, pushing them out, caving in, pushing them out. And those are some really good ways to start to strengthen the glutes themselves, so that when you go to squat, you don't even need to be putting the band around there, because you've gained the extra strength and you've done a little bit of retraining on the pattern. So at the start, what you're gonna need to do a lot of is retraining that pattern and going with a lighter weight and really focusing on, are my knees tracking straight now instead of caving in? Do some of that banded work where it's pulling it in, feeding into the problem, so you have to get reminded to push out. Once you've retrained that pattern and done regular glute work, then you're gonna notice your glutes are a lot stronger, you've retrained that pattern, and you can kind of go away from needing to use the bands all the time, and you're gonna get way less knee pain, and you're also gonna notice that your squats start going up because you're actually using your glutes and driving through them a lot more. If you found this video valuable, I would love if you would subscribe to the video, drop a comment below, and let me know which of these exercises was most useful for you.